It all started with a little thing on my foot. Nothing serious, I swear. Some weird pricks, like an annoying tingling that would come and go. At first, I thought it was just tiredness, We work all day long, run here and there, and then the body complains, right? Oh, it must be because of the shoe, I would say to myself. Or, I slept in a bad position. Massages, foot soaks, ointment, all to muffle the case. It was easier to ignore. Who has time to think about a little ache? Life is too busy for that. But the truth is that the prickling was becoming more frequent, stronger. It started to climb up my leg, a strange sensation, as if the muscle was vibrating on its own, without my permission. Then I couldn't pretend anymore that it was just tiredness. Stumbling also started to become more common. Silly things like bumping into the rug that didn't happen before. I started to feel a bit clumsy, And it was in one of those stumbles, sprawled on the living room floor, with a weak leg and a cold fear in my spine, that I realized something was very wrong. I needed help. That little ache had turned into a monster that I could no longer ignore. Hi everyone, my name is Sarah. I'm 55 years old, and not long ago, I had a normal life. I worked, took care of the house, of the children, of the grandchildren, that routine we all know well. I woke up early, had coffee in a hurry, faced the traffic, did the day's tasks, came back home tired, but happy. It was a simple life, but it was my life, and I liked it. But suddenly, everything changed. A rare and cruel disease, called amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, invaded my body and started to steal, day by day, my movements, my strength, my independence. It's as if I'm trapped inside myself, watching my body slowly abandon me. I decided to share my story because maybe it can serve as a warning to other people. We live so automatically, so concerned with day-to-day things, that we forget to pay attention to our bodies. We ignore the signs, the pains, the small discomforts, thinking it's all temporary. I did that. I made a big mistake, and I deeply regret it. If I had sought medical help earlier, maybe things would have been different. I don't know. But what I do know is that today, I want to use my experience to raise awareness about the importance of listening to your body, not ignoring warning signs, and seeking medical help as soon as possible. ALS is a terrible disease, but the sooner it is diagnosed, the better the chances of having a better quality of life. Don't make the same mistake I did. Pay attention to yourselves. Take care. Negligence. It's an art that we master without even realizing, isn't it? In my case, it became a true expert in ignoring the signs my body was giving me. The first twinges in my foot, I attributed them to work stress. The constant rush, tight deadlines, endless meetings. Of course, the body would complain, right? It was just a matter of resting a little, taking a vacation, and everything would go back to normal. That's what I told myself. Then, the pain started to move up my leg. Then the excuse changed. It must be because of age. After all, 55 years old is not 20, right? The body doesn't respond like before. The pains start to appear. It was all part of the natural aging process. And who has time to worry about that? Life goes on, the bills come, the grandchildren need attention. There was no time to stop and afford to go to the doctor because of any little pain. Self-medication then became my best friend. A painkiller here, an anti-inflammatory there. It solved it right away, relieved the pain, and I could continue with my routine. Ibuprofen, paracetamol, diclofenac. The pharmacy was my private paradise. They allowed me to mask the symptoms, postpone the doctor's visit, and continue living as if nothing was happening. It was as if I was building a wall to protect myself from the truth, even though I knew that at some point it would collapse. Lack of time was the perfect excuse to justify my negligence. I don't have time to go to the doctor, I repeated incessantly. I have to work, take care of the house, the kids, the grandchildren. My health always took a back seat, relegated to a dark and forgotten corner of my mind. It was easier to ignore the signs than to face the possibility of something serious. It was easier to live on autopilot than to stop and pay attention to my own body. And so, day after day, I kept postponing the inevitable. I was drowning in excuses and justifications, while ALS silently eroded my body from within. The busy routine, the stress, the lack of time, all of this contributed to me neglecting my health and ignoring the warning signs my body was giving me. A mistake that, unfortunately, cost me dearly. Today, I deeply regret not prioritizing my health, not listening to my body, not seeking medical help sooner. But now, all that remains is to learn from my mistakes and fight with all my strength to have the best possible quality of life, despite ALS. The escalation of symptoms was insidious, like a shadow lurking in the twilight, growing gradually to obscure everything. The twinges, once sporadic, turned into constant stabs, radiating from the leg to the hip, making every step a trial. The simple task of walking, once so automatic, now required a concentrated effort, every muscle screaming in protest. Stumbling became routine, coordination abandoning me like a ship adrift at sea. At work, the situation became unsustainable. As a teacher, I relied on my mobility to move around the classroom, assist students, and write on the board. The constant pain and difficulty in moving prevented me from performing my duties properly. I needed to sit down frequently, leaving me exhausted and frustrated. Concentration waned, irritability grew, and the simple act of planning lessons became a burden too heavy to bear. My relationships also suffered. Constant fatigue prevented me from participating in social activities, going out with friends, going going to the movies, or dining out. Gradually, I isolated myself, feeling like a burden to the people around me. Conversations became difficult because I couldn't hide my pain and tiredness. The fear of being judged or causing concern silenced me, trapping me in a cocoon of loneliness. Leisure activities, which once brought me so much joy, became impossible. Gardening, my passion, was abandoned. Trips to the park with my grandchildren were replaced by long hours of rest on the couch. The simple pleasure of reading a book faded away, as the pain prevented me from concentrating and relaxing. Life, once vibrant and full of colors, became gray and monotonous. Nights had become a torment. The pain prevented me from finding a comfortable position to sleep. I would wake up several times during the night, exhausted and frustrated. Insomnia consumed me, leaving me even weaker and more irritated. Sleep, once restorative, turned into torture. Simple day-to-day tasks like taking a shower, getting dressed, or cooking became a challenge. I needed help for everything, which left me deeply humiliated. It felt like my body was betraying me, slowly abandoning me. Frustration and despair flooded me, making me question the meaning of life. I tried to hide the situation from the people around me. I wore loose clothes to disguise the loss of muscle mass, avoided going out to not show my difficulties in walking, made up excuses to not participate in social activities. I was afraid of worrying my children, of being judged by friends, of becoming a burden to my family. But deep down, I knew I couldn't hide the truth forever. ALS was consuming me, and I needed help. I needed to find strength to face the disease and fight for a better quality of life, despite everything. The day I finally found the courage to seek medical help is etched in my memory like a scar. I could no longer hide the pain and difficulty in moving. One morning, trying to get out of bed, my legs simply gave way. I fell to the floor, unable to get up. Fear paralyzed me. Tears streamed down my face as I cried for help. It was my daughter who found me, desperate. She insisted that I go to the doctor immediately. Reluctant, but without the strength to resist, I agreed. The initial consultation was a whirlwind of questions and tests. The doctor, a man with a kind gaze and a calm voice, examined me thoroughly. He felt my muscles, tested my reflexes, asked about my symptoms and my family history. He seemed concerned, but tried to reassure me. I was referred for a battery of tests: MRI, electromyography, blood tests. Each test was a new torment, a new torture. The wait for the results was excruciating. Days turned into weeks, and anguish consumed me. I slept poorly, ate little, and lived in a constant state of alert. With every phone call, my heart raced. With every message, my hands trembled. The fear of the unknown haunted me. Finally, the day of the follow-up appointment arrived. I sat in the waiting room, hands sweating and heart in my throat. When the nurse called me, I felt my legs go weak. I entered the office, and the doctor waited for me with a serious expression. He invited me to sit down and, in a cautious tone, explained the test results to me. The words echoed in my ears like thunder: Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS. The acronym sounded like a death sentence. The world collapsed on me. I felt as if the ground had disappeared from beneath my feet. Shock, disbelief, and fear invaded me simultaneously. It can't be, I repeated incessantly. There must be some mistake. But the doctor confirmed the diagnosis, explaining the nature of the disease, the progression of symptoms, and the lack of cure. He told me that ALS is a rare degenerative disease that affects motor neurons, responsible for controlling voluntary movements. Gradually, the muscles weaken, leading to paralysis and eventually death. At that moment, I felt as if my life had ended. My dreams, my plans, my hopes, everything shattered into pieces. The future, once so promising, became uncertain and dark. Millions of questions inundated my mind. Why me? What did I do to deserve this? How much time do I have? How will I deal with the illness? How will I tell my children? How will I endure the pain and suffering? I left the doctor's office dazed, not knowing where to go. I walked through the streets aimlessly, like a ghost. People passed by me, oblivious to my pain. The sun was shining, the birds were singing, life went on, while mine crumbled. I needed answers. I needed support. I needed to understand what was happening to me and how to face the illness. I started researching about ALS on the internet, looking for support groups, talking to other patients. I found out I wasn't alone, that there were other people going through the same situation, facing the same challenges, feeling the same pain. I found comfort and hope in sharing my experiences and hearing the stories of other patients. I learned about the available treatments, palliative care, alternative therapies. I discovered that despite the lack of a cure, it was possible to have a good quality of life, even with ALS. I still feel fear, sadness, and uncertainty about the future, but I also feel strength, courage, and determination to fight the illness and cherish every moment of life. I decided not to give in to despair, but to live intensely, love unconditionally, and leave a legacy of hope and inspiration for future generations. ALS may have stolen my movements, but it will not steal my joy, my faith, and my love for life. As soon as the ALS diagnosis solidified, I dove headfirst into treatment. It was uncharted territory, filled with complex medical terms and uncertain promises. I started with riluzole, a medication that, according to the doctors, could slow the progression of the disease. Initially, I had hope, but soon the side effects began to appear disappear. Constant nausea, dizziness, and overwhelming fatigue that left me prostrate in bed for hours. Hospitalizations became frequent. Pneumonias, a consequence of muscle weakness that made coughing and secretion clearance difficult, would take me to the hospital, where I would spend days breathing with the help of machines. Each hospitalization was a harsh blow, a constant reminder of my fragility. One of the most difficult surgeries was the tracheostomy, necessary to facilitate breathing. The idea of having a tube inserted in my throat terrified me, but I knew it was essential for my survival. The adaptation was painful, both physically and emotionally. I lost the ability to speak and had to learn to communicate using a device that converted my thoughts into speech. The gastrostomy, another unavoidable surgery, allowed me to receive food directly into the stomach, as swallowing difficulties were increasingly becoming a challenge. At first, I felt invaded, as if my body no longer belonged to me. But over time, I learned to accept the gastrostomy as an ally, a way to ensure I received the necessary nutrients to stay strong. Pain was a constant companion. Muscle aches, spasms, joint pains. Each day was a new challenge. I took powerful painkillers, but they weren't always enough to ease the suffering. Physiotherapy and occupational therapy became essential to try to maintain mobility and alleviate the pain. The changes in my body were devastating. The loss of muscle mass made me increasingly weak and dependent. The hair loss, a side effect of some medications, made me even more insecure. The extreme fatigue prevented me from performing the simplest tasks, such as taking a shower or getting dressed. The limitations imposed by the disease imprisoned me in a world of frustration and powerlessness. There were moments of deep discouragement, days when the will to fight disappeared, when the pain and suffering seemed unbearable. I thought about giving up, about surrendering to the disease. But in those moments, I remembered the love of my family, the support of my friends, and the dedication of the medical team. They were my anchor, my safe harbor. My children, with their strength and determination, never let me falter. My granddaughters, with their smiles and hugs, filled me with joy and hope. My friends, with their loyalty and affection, showed me that I was not alone. The medical team, with their competence and humanity, provided me with the best possible treatment. The support I received was essential to keep me standing and moving forward. I learned to cherish every small moment, to celebrate every achievement, to be grateful for each day of life. I discovered that hope can flourish even in the darkest moments, that faith can give us the strength to overcome the most difficult obstacles. That love is the greatest gift we can receive and offer. ALS radically changed my life, but it also taught me valuable lessons. I learned to be stronger, more resilient, more grateful. I learned to cherish the little things, to love unconditionally, to live intensely in each moment. ALS may have taken away many things from me, but it did not take my essence, my soul, my love for life. And it is with this strength that I move forward, one day at a time, fighting for a dignified and happy life, despite everything. Often people confuse terminal illness with palliative care as if they were the same thing, the end of the line, but it's not quite like that. Being in a terminal state means that the disease has reached an irreversible point, and death is expected within a relatively short period, usually weeks or months. Palliative care, on the other hand, is an approach aimed at improving the quality of life for patients and their families facing issues associated with serious illnesses, whether curable or not, at any stage of the disease. Palliative care is not just for those who are dying. It is for those who are suffering, whether from physical pain, emotional distress, or the practical challenges the illness brings. The goal is to alleviate these symptoms, provide comfort, and help the patient live as fully as possible within their limitations. It's like a support network that extends to the patient and their family, offering medical, psychological, and social support. When I started receiving palliative care, I confess I was also afraid. I thought it was a sign that ALS was winning, that there was no more hope, but I soon realized I was wrong. Palliative care helped me deal with pain, control symptoms, face fear, and anxiety. It gave me tools to live better, even with the disease. The doctors, nurses, psychologists, and therapists who accompany me are true angels. They listen to me attentively, respect my decisions, and help me find solutions to my problems. They don't treat me as a terminal patient, but as a person who has the right to live in the best possible way. In addition to medications and conventional treatments, I have also tried alternative therapies that have helped me a lot in dealing with symptoms and stress. Meditation, for example, has taught me to relax the mind and body, control anxiety, and find inner peace. Through conscious breathing and visualization, I can calm my thoughts and connect with the present. Yoga, adapted to my limitations, helps me maintain flexibility, strengthen muscles, and alleviate pain. Gentle postures and stretching exercises provide me with a sense of well-being and help me connect with my body in a gentler way. Acupuncture, with its very fine needles, helps me relieve pain and improve blood circulation. The needles, placed in specific points of the body, stimulate the release of endorphins, neurotransmitters that promote pain relief and well-being. Of course, alternative therapies are not a cure for ALS, but they help me complement conventional treatment and improve my quality of life. They give me a sense of control over my body and mind, help me deal with symptoms and stress, and give me strength to move forward. Palliative care has taught me that life is not just about curing a disease, but about living the best possible way within our limitations. It has shown me that it is possible to find joy, peace, and meaning even amidst suffering. It has given me hope, courage, and strength to face ALS and live each day with gratitude and love. With this message, I want to inspire others to seek palliative care and lead their lives to the fullest, regardless of the difficulties they face, because life is a precious gift and deserves to be lived with joy and hope until the last breath. Life, in its peculiar irony, sometimes throws us challenges that test our resilience to the limit. I believed naively that I had found a balance, a way to coexist with ALS, to overcome its limitations, and to enjoy moments of clarity and well-being. I was mistaken. Like a recurring nightmare, the disease decided to confront me again, this time with an even greater cruelty. It all began with stabbing back pains, an unexplainable fatigue, and a persistent cough that robbed me of sleep. I initially ignored the signs, attributing them to fatigue and stress. After all, taking care of my health amidst a pandemic was not an easy task, but the symptoms escalated, forcing me to seek medical help. Tests were repeated, and the CT scans revealed the sad truth. ALS had spread, reaching my lungs and bones. Metastasis. The word echoed in my mind as a foreshadowing of death. I felt the ground open beneath my feet, hope fading away like smoke. The battle resumed, more arduous and relentless than ever before. The frustration was overwhelming. After so much effort to accept the illness, to adapt my life to its limitations, to find meaning in the midst of chaos, everything seemed to have been in vain. The sense of regression was suffocating, as if I were trapped in a dead-end maze. The fear of death, which always loomed over me like a shadow, became even more intense. The idea of leaving my children, grandchildren, family, and friends tore at my soul. The uncertainty of the future, the pain of separation, the fear of the unknown, everything blended in a whirlwind of emotions. Accepting the new reality has been a slow and painful process. It takes time to digest the news, to grasp the gravity of the situation, to find the strength to move forward. But gradually, with the help of my family, friends, and healthcare professionals by my side, I am learning to cope with the situation, to redefine my life, and to find a new purpose. I have been seeking psychological support to deal with fear, anxiety, and depression. Therapy sessions help me to express my feelings, process my emotions, and find strategies to face challenges. Faith has also been an important safe haven. Prayer, meditation, and reading sacred texts provide me with peace, comfort, and hope. I have decided to focus on living in the present, on cherishing each moment as if it were the last. I value every smile, every hug, every conversation, every moment of joy and well-being. I have learned to appreciate the little things, like the song of birds, the scent of flowers, the warmth of the sun. Gratitude has become my main tool to face illness and find meaning in life. I know the road ahead will be difficult, that I will have to face many challenges and overcome many obstacles, but I am determined to fight with all my strength, not to give in to despair, and to live each day with intensity and passion. ALS may have taken many things from me, but it will not take away my hope, my faith, and my love for life. And it is with this certainty that I move forward, one day at a time, seeking happiness and fulfillment in every moment. Life, this blank canvas that is painted with each dawn, has gained unexpected colors and textures after the diagnosis. Previously so focused on chasing the future, on achieving goals and accumulating possessions, I neglected the simple beauty of the present. ALS, in its cruelty, has gifted me with the clarity that now is all that truly matters. Learning to live in the present has become an art, a daily exercise of mindfulness and gratitude. I have discovered that happiness is not found in major events or extraordinary achievements, but in the small details, in the fleeting moments that fill our everyday lives. A cup of steaming coffee in the morning, the aroma of fresh bread coming out of the oven, the song of birds at dawn, the spontaneous smile of a grandchild, the tight hug of a friend, the gentle touch of a sunbeam on the skin. These are the moments that bring me joy and make me feel alive. My favorite activities have adapted to my physical limitations, but they have not lost their charm. Reading, which has always been a passion, has gained a new meaning. Diving into the pages of a book has become a way to travel without leaving home, to explore new worlds, and to connect with different cultures and perspectives. Music, another long-standing passion, continues to move and inspire me. Listening to my favorite songs transports me to happy moments from the past, soothes me in times of anxiety, and gives me strength to face challenges. Painting, which I recently rediscovered, has become a way to express my feelings and emotions. The colors, the brushes, the canvas, everything comes together to create works that reflect my soul and allow me to communicate what words cannot express. Valuing relationships has become an absolute priority. I have realized that love, friendship, and companionship are the pillars that sustain our lives and give us strength to face difficult times. I seek to be present in the lives of my children and grandchildren, participating in their activities, listening to their stories, and offering my support and affection. I strengthen the bonds with my friends, nurturing friendship and companionship. I dedicate time to talk, to laugh, to share special moments. Expressing my feelings has become essential for my emotional health. I learned not to suppress sadness, anger, fear, and anxiety, but to welcome these feelings and express them in a healthy way. I talk to my family and friends about my fears and anxieties. I seek psychological support when needed. I write in a diary to organize my thoughts and emotions. I paint and draw to express what words cannot say. Gratitude has become a mantra, a daily practice that helps me focus on the positive and appreciate all that I have. I am grateful for my family, for my friends, for my health, even if it is weakened, for my home, for my food, for my ability to love and be loved. Illness has taught me to prioritize what truly matters. I have let go of unnecessary worries, excessive demands, and unrealistic expectations. I have learned to say no to what does not serve me, to delegate tasks, and to ask for help when needed. The focus has become my health, my well-being, and my happiness. I prioritize rest, healthy eating, physical activity, even light, time with family and friends, and activities that bring me joy. ALS has turned me into a stronger, more resilient, more grateful person, and more aware of the value of life. I learned to love unconditionally, to forgive easily, to live intensely in each moment, and to leave a legacy of love and hope for future generations. It is with this message that I want to inspire others to value the present, to cultivate relationships, to express their feelings, and to be grateful for life, regardless of the difficulties they face, because life is a precious gift and deserves to be lived with joy and fullness up to the last breath. My perspective on life and death has radically transformed since ALS crossed my path. Before, death was a distant concept, something to be feared and avoided at all costs. Life, on the other hand, was a journey to be rushed through, focused on material achievements and external accomplishments. The disease forced me to confront the finitude of existence and rethink my priorities. Death has ceased to be a taboo, a bogeyman to be hidden under the bed. It is now seen as a natural part of the cycle of life, a portal to a new dimension, a well-deserved rest after a long journey. Life, on the other hand, has gained a new meaning. It is no longer a frantic race for success, but a precious gift to be enjoyed in every moment. ALS taught me to value the little things, to savor each moment, to love unconditionally. It showed me that happiness is not found in material possessions or external achievements, but in the relationships we build, the moments we share, and the love we give. The experience of illness has transformed me into a stronger, more resilient, and compassionate person. The pain, suffering, and physical limitations have strengthened me, taught me to overcome obstacles, and to find strength where I never imagined it existed. Resilience, the ability to adapt to changes and to move forward even in the face of adversity, has become one of my greatest virtues. Compassion, the ability to put myself in someone else's shoes and to feel their pain, has made me a more humane and compassionate person. The legacy I want to leave behind is one of love, hope, and inspiration. I want people to remember me as someone who fought with all their might, who never gave up on their dreams, and who lived each day with intensity and passion. I want to inspire others to take care of their health, to cherish the present, to cultivate relationships, and to live life to the fullest, regardless of the difficulties they face. It is essential for people to understand the importance of taking care of their health, both physically and mentally. Preventing illnesses, undergoing routine checkups, adopting healthy habits, and seeking professional help when needed are actions that can make all the difference. ALS has taught me that health is our most precious asset and that we must take care of it with care and dedication. I have also learned that life is a precious gift and that we should live it with joy, gratitude, and hope. For those facing similar challenges, I want to leave a message of hope and encouragement. Do not give up on your dreams, do not lose faith, and do not let yourself be overcome by pain and suffering. Seek support from family, friends, healthcare professionals, and faith. Believe in your ability to overcome obstacles and to find happiness even in the midst of adversity. Life can be hard, but it is also beautiful and full of opportunities. Believe in yourselves, cherish the present, love unconditionally, and live each day with intensity and passion. ALS may have taken many things from me, but it did not steal my hope, my faith, and my love for life. And it is with this message that I move forward, one day at a time, seeking happiness and fulfillment in every moment. Always remember, life is a gift, and it deserves to be lived with joy and hope until the last breath. If I could go back in time, the first thing I would do is listen to my body. Pay attention to those small pains, to the subtle signs it sent me. Do not ignore them. Do not minimize them. Do not justify them with the stress of daily life or the weight of age. Because believe me, our bodies speak, and they speak loudly when something is not right. Learning to listen to it is essential for our health and well-being. And please do not be afraid to seek medical help. I know that sometimes the fear of a diagnosis paralyzes us, prevents us from taking the right action. But the truth is that early diagnosis can make all the difference. The sooner the disease is detected, the higher the chances of effective treatment and a better quality of life. Do not hesitate to seek the advice of a professional, to undergo the necessary tests. Prevention is always the best path. If I could give one final piece of advice, based on my personal experience, it would be this: do not let the illness bring you down. I know it is hard, that the pain, the suffering, and the physical limitations can be overwhelming. But believe me, you are stronger than you think. Find strength in faith, in the love of family and friends. Seek support from healthcare professionals. Believe in your ability ability to overcome obstacles and find happiness even in the face of adversity. And above all, love. Love yourselves, love the people around you, love life. Love is the most powerful force in the world, capable of turning suffering into hope, pain into joy, and sadness into peace. I am grateful for each day, for each smile, for each hug. I am grateful for my family, for my friends, for the healthcare professionals who support me. I am grateful for the opportunity to share my story and to inspire other people to live fully. Life is a precious gift, and it deserves to be lived with joy, gratitude, and hope until the last breath. Believe in the strength of life, cherish every moment, and never lose faith.